Hello, Merry Meet. This is a video response to, I think her name is Renee, on Another Pagan blog, and it's a video response to her video about paganism and insanity. And I don't think she accepts responses to a video, so I'm just going to post a link to the original video down there. So yeah, what Renee says in her video log basically is that the pagan community has too many crazies and we should stop accepting them. And I have to start by saying I am basically, for the most part, 100% against what she says. But let me explain. First, she starts to say about there's some points, and I want to try to take them in order. One of the things she says is that there were a research done on the Vancouver pagan community, and 100% had said that they had been abused. And by this, she indicates that now every pagan about there is working through some abuse trauma. But here's the point. If you ask that questionnaire to any group of people, metal workers, kindergarten workers, whatever, you are going to find an enormous amount of people who has been abused. Because it all depends on what do you lay in the word abuse. I mean, here in Norway they had done a research and found that 90% of girls of what is the American term, junior high, yeah, that 90% of junior high girls have been bullied. That's a form of abuse. So I would say that if you stretch that term wide enough, I would think 100% of almost any group has suffered some kind of abuse. The sad thing is that people are mean to one another. And this isn't unique to the pagan community. Unfortunately, that's what the world is. I mean, I have been bullied up and down for being fat, for being bisexual, for being pagan. That's a kind of abuse. So, yeah, I don't think that's relevant whatsoever. Another point she makes is that many people come to the pagan community after they have searched around other spiritualities, and that they do this because they have a void inside of them that is due to mental illness that I sort of seek out. And this is a kind of way to say pagans are crazy. And yeah, no. Basically, a lot of people go searching for the religion that's right for them. Not everybody find what they're looking for in the first religion they join. And as such, many people come to the pagan community from other religion. That doesn't indicate anything. But let's get to the main section of her video, which is basically, but there are so many crazies. There are people that think they are aliens. There are people that think they are reincarnated gods. There are people that think so and so and so. Well, hello Renee. I'm one of the people that you will probably assume are crazy because I'm a chaos magician. And I believe that there is no truth. That the world's basic state is chaos. And that the world is shaped by our beliefs. To be what it is, and when we change our beliefs, we change our world. And also as such, I believe that if you are a devout Christian, then Christianity is true for you. If you are a devout Wiccan, then Wicca is true for you. And by this I also mean that I also think that any kind of thing can be used in magic. For example, I have done protection rituals, placing my Transformers figurines in a circle, because these characters has been enrooted in our culture. So many kids have grown up watching the cartoons and reading the comics. And as such, they have become archetypes unto themselves. They have become important energies and can be used just as well as anything established. But you will probably see that as very insane. And here's the thing. If somebody comes to you and says, I'm Christian, you're probably not going to say, oh, you're insane. You are completely nuts. You should be locked up. But what does being Christian mean? It, among other things, means that because because a woman at some point talked with a talking snake and was tricked into eating a fruit that she also then tricked her hubby to eat. They were tossed out of the Garden of Eden. They got the original sin, and therefore people go to hell. And the only way to prevent that is that God, their deity, split off a section of himself, made this section into a human being who was then tortured to death as a sacrifice, and because of that sacrifice we can escape original sin and go to heaven. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad belief, but I'm saying, how is this sane, but believing there are life on other planets and I have an alien soul? How is that insane? By believing that you need to believe in demigod, a sliver of a piece of basically a piece of a divinity, was tortured to death so that you can escape the sin created by a woman who ate fruit she was tricked to by a talking snake. How is that sane? Believing that you are a reincarnated alien is insane. I don't see a problem here. What you're talking about is that if a fate is very unusual, then somebody is insane. If it's fringe, if it's not something that has millions of followers, then the person is insane. If somebody has just as out there ideas, but if it has millions of people believing in it, then they are sane. And that makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these things are actually established fates. You have other kids. Those are people that believe they have the souls of spiritual beings. They believe that, for example, dragons, unicorns, and so on are types of spirits, and that they can be reincarnated in human form, and they are one of these. Then you have Therians, who believe that they are the reincarnated souls of animals, that something went wrong when the souls were handed out, and they got the soul of a bull, for example, or a cat. And these are established faiths. A lot of people that believe in this. And how is it crazy? Of course you can say, I don't believe in this. I think it's bullshit. That's not a problem, but to label people insane for having a different faith than you, I don't think that's okay. So, and look at it this way. For example, Atherians who believe they have the souls of animals. This is an established part of, for example, Hinduism, which is one of the major religions of the world. Are all Hindus insane? Because they believe that if you are very sinful, you will be reborn as an animal. And if an animal is very virtuous, it can be reborn as a human being. Are they then insane? You also mention people who believe they are the reincarnations of gods. And why I might call that a little bit pompous? I mean, it's a common thing within both Hindu and Buddhist religion. And that's quite a few million people who believe that, yes, human beings can be reincarnated deities and saints. How is that then insane? You also mentioned a woman that had talked to you that said that if you have blue eyes, you've been raped, and if you have black eyes, you're a demon. To me, this woman doesn't sound insane. She sounds like she is reading eye analysis like most people read the horoscope. I mean, many people go around and think that the horoscope, that means there's just 12 different kinds of people in the world. So, oh, you're a Scorpio, this is the way it is, without taking into consideration all the massive amount of things, like what's your moon sign, what's sign where your Mars in, what's your ascendant, all of these things that makes up your birth chart. And it's the same with eye analysis or iris analysis. Basically, it's very easy then to say, oh, but everybody's this color is that way, everybody's that color is that way, without thinking about the entire range of knowledge. This makes her ignorant. It doesn't make her insane. Now, are there crazy people among pagans? Of course there are crazy people among pagans, and just as there are crazy Christians, there are crazy atheists. Now, are the pagan community more accepting of mental illness than many other communities? Yes. And this is because basically, well, pagans tend to be more tolerant in general. It is also that so many of us has been called crazy just for our views, just for not following a mainstream religion. We have been called crazy. Therefore, we are more sensitive, as we should be, that people having alternative faiths doesn't make them crazy. So yeah, but and you say, but why is crazy people tolerated in covens and groups? Because we're a community. We also accept those of our members who are sick. But also, here's the thing. Pagans tend to be rather accepting. And as such, for example, those that follow a Wiccan faith or a Wiccan-ish faith have a tendency to have this idea that basically harm's none, do what you will. Which means that if somebody believes that their cat is the reincarnation of Elvis, I might think that's a load of bull and think that's a pretty crazy idea. But why would I want to try to lock that person up? Why would I have a problem with a person having this idea? Because it doesn't harm anyone. Most pagans have a tendency to think that whatever you believe, as long as you don't harm anyone, believe what you want. And I think that's an extremely positive opinion. That's why videos like yours make me very sad, because here you say you're not judgmental. Yes, you are. You are saying that people that have a fringe belief should be locked up. You don't get much more judgmental. So yeah, it makes me very sad when I see people who have that much judgment, because really having a fringe belief doesn't make you insane. So what if somebody thinks that their soul is from an alien, that they're a displaced alien? Who does that hurt? If that's a spiritual belief that makes them happy, what's the problem? You don't have to agree with it. You can think they are completely wrong, but how does it make them insane? How does it make them dangerous? How does it make them destructive? It doesn't. They just have a different kind of faith that many people don't share. Now, are there destructive elements? Yes, and usually people do say something then. Like in the group I was in, one of the members started using drugs quite heavily. And you know what? The rest of us said something. So yeah. Now, could there be groups that doesn't say something even when there are something that is self-destructive behavior or that is destructive thoughts? Yeah, of course. But yeah, that we find everywhere. But for the most part, yeah, people do say something. The problem is why people aren't saying something. to the lady with the cat she thinks is Elvis, or the person that thinks they're a reincarnated alien, because they think this is their belief. Let them have their belief. It doesn't bother me. So I think here the problem isn't the pagan community, it's you. Basically, why is it so important for you that everybody has a mainstream belief? For really, how is it more insane to believe that you're a reincarnated deity, that you are have an alien soul, than to believe that, or take pagan belief? How is it more crazy to believe that than to believe that there are a male and a female deity that together has birthed the world? I mean, it's a spiritual belief just like any other. It doesn't make someone crazy. What I look at to see if somebody is crazy is, are their beliefs a trouble for themselves and others? Basically, if they are all like I can't go out when there's stars outside because maybe the aliens will beam things into my mind. Yeah, that's crazy. Because then it's affecting their life quality. If somebody gets, like, let's say they believe they are a fairy princess and then go off at people when they won't call them your highness, that's crazy. But somebody believing that I'm a fairy in a human body, what's the problem? You can say they are completely wrong. That's a far out there idea. But how do you know that they're crazy? I mean, the atheists do this to all of us. They say everybody who is religious are crazy. What gives you the right to turn around and do exactly the same thing to others who just don't share your faith? So, yeah, I don't think there are a lot of crazies in the pagan community, but I do think that the pagan community is more open to unusual faiths. And I see no problem in that. I celebrate that. I think it's great that there are a lot of people. I mean, I have had friends who are otherkin. Are they crazy? No. Do it necessarily mean that I believe the same as them? No. I know people who are Tarian who think that they are basically an animal in a human body. Have at it. I have people who are friends who have all sorts of faiths. What's the problem? As long as they are happy with their faiths, as long as they are well functioning in society, as long as they don't hurt anyone, where's the problem? And also, you read that these people should be locked up. No. The people who get locked up are people who are in danger to themselves and others. Having just a eccentric idea of life doesn't make you a danger to yourself and others. And I celebrate the pagan community for accepting people who are eccentric. It's one of the best qualities. So yeah. And this, why should we allow them in our groups? Because most pagans have experienced being ridiculed for their faith. They have experienced being, some people have even experienced being locked up, as you suggest, for their faith as pagans. And when you experience a lot of prosecution and ridicule, you tend to be somewhat skeptical about doing the same to others. So most pagans say, live and let live. As long as you don't harm me, not a problem. And now for this girl who had sacrificed someone, that isn't the voice of the pagan community. I mean, I haven't heard about it. And you might say, but you live all the way down in Norway. But yeah, but I have pagan friends all over the world, so no. of course, sometimes there are crazies in any society. I mean, 2 years ago, a man who professed to be a Christian um, killed 77 people here in Norway. Went on a rampage in a summer camp for kids and shot people down left and right. Is he the voice of the Christian community? No. So basically, the ones that are the voice, and if you hear that, that's a helicopter that goes on over here. They are very annoying. But what can you do? Basically, the ones that are the voice of the pagan community, those are the popular pagan authors. It is people who make videos about pagan religion and lifestyle on YouTube. It's pagans who contribute on message boards. It's the pagans who put themselves out there. Those are the voices of the pagan community, not the few and rare between crazies. And yeah, of course, the Christian right will latch out at us and use such a story like that and say, look, they're evil, I promise you, they're evil. But they'll find something to pick at us for anything. It's what they do. Basically, I think that you will be a much happier pagan if you don't give a shit what the Christian right think about you. And here's also, you said, for us to get accepted, we must expel those that basically are different thinkers. I completely disagree. I would much rather just sit on the sidelines and be looked at by mainstream society as strange than to say, oh, your religious belief, I think it can pass. Yours, no, 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 no. Two out there, can't have that. Then we'll lose what makes our society as pagans great. I would much rather not have acceptance of the general society than to do that. So, yeah. And as for all the crazies you meet at work, well, talk with anyone who work in retail, and I'll tell you a lot of stories of crazy customers. This isn't unique to the pagan community, trust me. There's a lot of strange people out there. And I say, as long as they don't hurt anyone, they just make society more colorful. And who knows what's right? And in my belief, if people believe something, then it is true for them. It's in their world. So yeah, that's my video response. Have a great day, and blessed be.